Hey everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. And sorry I plagued you with an hour-long video on Friday about equipment with no gameplay. Congratulations if you made it through that, and thank you very much for the 2,000 comments on that video. A lot of your opinions have been very interesting. It's always great for me to be able to see what the entire community thinks, or at least people inside my community. But I think we've got such a large amount of us together that I think it really does show a good proportion of what the World of Tanks community thinks as well. So thank you very much for all of your feedback on that video, and especially on the topic of Equipment 2.0. I think it's something that's really important that we all think about and we stand up for, and it's always so lovely to see thousands of people dropping comments down below. Alright, so today I'm playing in a tank that is old but gold. Well, I guess I'm using a gold consumable here, and I've got 14 gold rounds loaded, but whether we're going to need them or not remains to be seen. Old but gold, the ST1. No, this is not the STI. You can tell by going on the World of Tanks RU website and going and checking that they actually don't have an I. If it was an I, it would be as in like the IS tank, you know, the Joseph Stalin tank, but it's not. It's clearly the ST1. Don't pronounce it like an STI, otherwise you're going to be becoming a captain when you get that double-barreled tank and be calling it the STII, sir. So that's a bit complicated to try and communicate with your allies as well. Oh, there's an STII off port bow. Well, maybe possibly not. So let's talk about the ST1 here for a second. It's a Tier 9 Soviet heavy tank which replaced the IS-4 at Tier 9 when the IS-4 jumped up to Tier 10 and became a whole new branch of, should we say, more flexible Soviet heavy tanks. The IS-7 had way less gun depression than the ST-1 and the IS-4, and still does. You know, those kind of vehicles with their 8 degrees were far more flexible on a ridgeline. So, and that means that they really did change the way that you could use a Soviet heavy tank. It was not about kind of trying to find a niche position where you could go hold down. With the flexibility of having those 8 degrees, you were able to go hold down in way more locations. However, the turret on this tank was cracking, and it still is, even today in the game. While there are a lot more heat rounds in the game, they don't really seem to contest the front of the ST turret too much, unless they do hit the top and they hit the weak point that you will be seeing on top of the vehicle, which I'm going to highlight here. Yeah, this is flat, but even this part of the armor against standard rounds is not too bad. It's really only premium rounds that are going to contest that reliably. The turret is 250mm, and one of the best things about this tank is the fact that it has 140mm of side armor. So this means you can actually over-angle the tank, and you can get away with it too. Some tanks you over-angle, they're going to put a big old round into the side of your vehicle and you're going to lose a substantial amount of your hit points. The ST1, you can almost over-angle this tank a lot like you can the Tier 10 Soviet heavy tank, and you can really brush aside those lower tier vehicles. 140mm of side armor is truly outrageous against Tier 7 and Tier 8 tanks, which this vehicle can meet as it's a Tier 9. However, in a matchup like this, when we're having to deal with Tier 10 tanks and a lot of Tier 9s on the enemy team, yeah, the armor isn't quite so special. The main thing to do when you use this vehicle is to make sure that you always angle the front hull. The weakness will be the lower plate. As you can see, my good buddy Ike just took 2 shots there from the moisture right through the lower plate to add to one that he took earlier, creating Swiss cheese out of the Soviet lower plate. You can see I actually go forwards there to make sure that I cover Ike's lower plate, as I don't want him out the game. If you can, even if your allies have got very low amounts of hit points, if you can keep their gun in the game, then you're still doubling your firepower. So always look after your bros, and none more than I will look after Ike. Oh yes, the hordes! They're still here. This was from the same play session that you saw with the video last week where we were playing the T-29s. I have to admit, I'm missing them already. I'm kind of sad that I'm reviewing this video, because with that big old horn on the ST1, now I'm already missing them, right? It's been a week, I kind of forgot over that. I've kind of forgot them, I kind of started to get over a little bit. Now I am missing them all over again. Alright, so we're about to go around the corner into, yeah, 2 of the most heavily armored Tier 10 tanks in the game. It's a T110E3 and Object 268 version 4. Now, luckily for me, I managed to clutch a shot into the top of the 268 version 4, and we hear the T110E3 fire. That should be like a siren to jump you into effect. The only chance you have to try and deal with this vehicle is to get its side. And look at this. I put a track in, Ike puts a round into the side of the vehicle, and right now, yeah, it doesn't matter how good your frontal armor is, if you don't have a turret, and you don't have the flexibility that a heavy tank needs, and the tank destroyer is going to be useless. I tried to put some pressure on the IS-3. I know that Ike has got the reload to finish the T110 E3. And there you go, we managed to just take out 2 top-tier vehicles and have perhaps given our team a chance to be able to come back into this. But unfortunately, as we can see, the Indian Panzer is a one-shot. The Ferdinand that we have behind us is also a one-shot. And the Progetto, while we put 444 damage into the top of their turret, Ike fails to manage to kill the tier 10 Italian medium tank, and having a Progetto above you is not a great thing. Okay, so right now there's a turtle towards their base. There's an Object 430 who seems to be flanking towards the north, and we have to go and get back to defend against the T-44. So we're going to drive right out across the open, and this is the danger part of the game. This is really where you don't want to get caught, but T-44 in the side looks like it manages to actually spot Ike out, which means that while we do put 1 round into the T-44, that the Progetto is going to be, oh, maybe not. Maybe the Progetto is not going to be a sneaky sausage. Ah, see, you think I would know if I'm commentating on a replay. It's as much of a surprise to me. I can't even remember what happened a week ago. Well, the Progetto actually shuts down the Ferdinand and shuts down the ST-1, aka Ike. That must mean that surely the Progetto flanked all the way round and managed to get shots from over here. Sneaky Italian medium tank, well played to him. And he actually had enough view range to be able to spot Ike and the Ferdinand, and now the Progetto also shuts down the Indian Panzer. So MVP performance by Wave Rider 29 on the enemy team, who's now got a top gun in their top tier tank. Oh dear. ST1 1 versus 4. ST1 versus 4. Yeah, that's maybe that should be the title of the video. No, I don't know. I'm gonna probably go still with the old but gold, but I guess you will know, and I won't know now. I will know later on, though. Hopefully I will know what I'm going to be titling my videos. Anyway, 1 versus 4 situation. We're versus a T-44, a Turtle, a 430, and a Progetto, and it looks like we're about to change that into a 1 versus 3 engagement. So I'm thinking back now and I'm remembering that the Progetto is a one-shot. Now this is a very important part of the replay. Do you see how I pretend to go backwards and then I go forwards until I'm no longer spotted? Make sure I hopefully don't knock down that tree. You can see I actually go forwards a little bit to avoid knocking down the tree. And so I'm hoping that the enemies think that I'm going back up into the center of the map. But by turning around now, they probably won't expect me. So we come around the corner here, and there's the 430. Oh dear, 1,285 hit points. I should kill him with 3 shots, but only if I roll well. Okay, so I just want to pause the replay here because it's going to be quite complicated to try and say everything that I possibly can in this quick engagement. So obviously, I want to shoot the Progetto right now. I saw that the Progetto's on low hit points, but as he's far enough away, I will probably be able to get a shot into him before he manages to progress. I have to shoot the 430. It's not enough to hold my shell and just save it for the Progetto, because if I do that, then the 430 is going to be able to get my flank and finish me off. So I have to shoot the 430, but that doesn't mean that I can't. I have to hide my intentions, and so that's what you're going to see me do right now. I'm going to pretend like I reverse back. I'm going to pretend like I'm ignoring the Progetto by turning my turret towards the 430, and once I lure him forwards and he thinks, oh, this idiot's going to go for him, I'm on a top gun, maybe I can get more out of this game, we get the greedy Progetto without him even managing to put a shot into us, and so that means we can now isolate the 430. Next step is to not try and save my hit points right now. I have to be aggressive. The turtle could be anywhere. The turtle could be coming up over the slope. I have to get stuck in right now and kill this 430 as quickly as I can and just trade with him and pray for a good roll. 429 after that low roll of 414. That is really where you're rolling the dice in World of Tanks. Of course, the 430 might have low rolled his shot and then I would have been able to reload as well. Yeah, RNG in my favor. And those are the 2 things that you need to have if you're going to be able to get through these 1 versus 4 situations against higher tier tanks, having shut down high tier tanks earlier on in the battle. You're going to need luck, but it's also about making the plays as well. You want to kill the low health tanks, but you don't want to let them know that you're going to focus them. Pretend like you're going for someone else, make it look like you're committing, and in a situation where you're outnumbered, it's your only chance. Luckily for me, the Progetto didn't wait for the reload. He didn't wait for me to focus down the 430 anymore. He didn't try and progress in between them, and that means that we're able to shut him down. So another thing that's really cool is that I'm kind of stressing a little bit while I'm streaming. This is a very tense situation here, you know, your heart's going. You just managed to shut down the top gun on the enemy team and you secured a top gun for yourself. But also, you haven't been able to get within radio range or within render distance of 564 meters of the turtle, so you don't know how many hit points they have. This is the kind of information that you can try and get from your team. And Ike, luckily, is... I don't want him to be my secretary, but he's asking my team because I was like really focused up and I wanted to be able to clutch shot the turtle if I managed to see him. And the last thing you want to do is get caught typing to your team. How many hit points does he have? Unfortunately, my team doesn't answer. And I miss my first shot into the turtle. And yeah, boys and girls, as you can clearly see, this turtle is a very healthy boy. This tier 8 British premium tank destroyer is on 1,400 hit points. I'm going to have to shoot them 4 times if I want to shut them down, or 3 times if I roll incredibly high. Whoa, okay, 496. Yeah, that's not... If I can roll a few more like that, we will actually be able to do this. Okay, good start. So the turtle, when you're in a situation like this against a tank destroyer that clearly wants to all-in you with their larger amounts of hit points, it's all about using your flexibility. The ST-1 has a turret, the turtle does not. The ST-1 is actually faster than the turtle, although not much. And so by keeping the engagement at long range, where I can use the advantages that I have with penetration and also with my good turret armor and my flexible nature, then I should be able to turn the engagement in my favor. The last thing I want is to get too close to the guy here. He actually shoots me with a gold round there through the wall and locks my tracks down, and as you can clearly see with the 478 damage that I did to him, he's actually now within the region of being able to finish him off in 3 shots. Maybe the gods have managed to will this into my favor here. So now we're actually, to all intents and purposes, a 1 shot for each other. Although the turtle with the 330 hit points would have to roll high, and I would have to roll even now to be able to shut them down. Try and keep Look, I'm not expecting all of the new players out there to be able to do this, but if you're an experienced player and you're trying to gauge the thought processes, I'm not going to call myself a great player of World of Tanks, but at least I'm going to let you know what helps me to be able to get through these 1 versus 3, 4 situations. Not more often than I don't, but at least have a chance of being able to get through them. Okay, so I'm thinking right now, still, it's about a 50-50 whether I manage to kill this guy with a single shot. And considering he just wants to sit here, and he's in the cap circle, and he's probably quite happy. His 6th sense has managed to go off, but mine has not. So I'm going to have the ambush shot off on him. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to come around the corner just a little bit until I can see his tank, and I'm going to fire a high explosive round at the side of his tank, and then load heat again. Now the turtle realizes, oh dear, I've got 300 hit points left. Is he just going to spam HE at me? He advances without me managing to find him. And now RNG is taken out of the equation. I will guarantee kill him if I'm able to penetrate. And he will have to roll high if he wants to be able to penetrate me. So it's all about just using the time that you have, using the knowledge that you have of game mechanics. My heat rounds won't go through the wall. Oh, they will bounce off the side of his tank. Well played, turtle. But remember, every time one of his rounds goes through a wall like that, it's actually removing, I think, either 10 or 20 or possibly even 40 millimeters of his penetration, which will mean that it's unlikely that he's able to go through me. So right now, I just decide to commit. I bounce his shell, I aim at his lower plate, and I connect. And there you go, ladies and gents. 1 versus 4. ST1. It may be old, but it is still gold. And it was more than enough to be able to get through this engagement. So we managed to pick up an ace tank here with 1,547 base experience, a defender medal for protecting the cap against that turtle, and a steel wall medal for enough damage to kill us at least 1 time over with 2,150. A high caliber for the 6,260 damage, and a top gun for that 7th kill. This really was the all-round classic performance that you can manage to achieve with enough experience in an all-round classic tank. And it's one of the things that I enjoy more in World of Tanks, when you're not just smashing through the enemy team in some overpowered meta newfangled vehicle, but taking some of the older tanks out onto the battlefield and, you know, showing the enemy team that they can still work. Anyway, that's it for me today, ladies and gents. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and if you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching the video as it's released on Sunday, it's time for the World of Tanks Tech Tree Showcase of the week, right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And this week, it looks like all of you want me to play Swedish medium tanks. So come along right now, as I'm going to be playing my way up towards the UDES 1516, and I can tell you, there are some real hidden classics along this line. And a bit of a spoiler here. I think that the top tier Swedish medium tank, the tier 8 and the tier 9, are probably some of the most underrated vehicles. That's as far as I'm ever going to go into ASMR. Don't ever request anything like that ever again. We won't be doing that on this channel, at least. Maybe another channel. No, let's not go there. Anyway, I hope you all have a lovely weekend, whatever you get up to. Hopefully I'm going to see all of you right now on Twitch. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.